Welcome to multiple choice question 18 of the 2009 Mathematical Methods Exam 2. In this video we will be looking at the solution for this question. A reminder that this video is in no way endorsed by VCAA. Now before we move on, I'd just like to point out that the use of a CAS calculator is an efficient way to approach this question. So for question 18 we have the average value of the function given by f with a domain of all real numbers excluding negative a half, with a rule f of x equals 1 divided by 2x plus 1 over some interval 0 to k is 1/6 times log e of 7. And we're asked the value of k is one of the following. So there's a fair bit going on in this question, but the crux of it is that we're interested in the average value of this function. So an important note of a common error that comes up often is that people confuse the average value of a function with the average rate of change of a function. So just make sure that we're dealing with an average value for this question. And we know that the average value of a function over an interval a to b is given by 1 divided by b subtract a times the integral between a and b of f of x dx. So for this question, we've actually been given the average value of the function. So that is that the average value over this particular interval is 1/6 times log e of 7. So we can write 1/6 times log e of 7 is equal to 1 divided by b subtract a, which is the width of the interval. So in this case, our interval is 0 to k. So we're going to do k subtract 0 times the integral between 0 and k for the function, which is 1 divided by 2x plus 1, and we're going to integrate that with respect to x. And this is actually something we can solve now on our CAS calculator. On the CAS calculator, go into the main menu. Next, we want to bring up the soft keyboard and we want to type in that equation. So we had 1 divided by 6 times log e, so we can use ln to represent log e on the calculator. So that was 1/6 log e of 7 was equal to the fraction 1 over, and using variables we will use the variable k, so we'll have k subtract 0, and then that was multiplying the integral between 0 and k for the rule, which was a fraction 1 divided by 2x plus 1, and we were going to integrate that with respect to x. And now instead of just hitting execute, this is actually an equation that we're solving. So we're going to go interactive equation equality solve, but we don't want to solve for the variable x. We were asked what the value of k was. So replacing the variable with k there, we can now hit OK, and that will solve this equation for us. So we actually get two possible values of k. One is negative 0.79 and the other one is k equals 3. So even though the calculator gives us two values, based on the interval being from 0 to k, we know that k must be greater than 0. So therefore k equals 3 is the value that we're interested in. And that appears as one of our options as being option B. So that's the correct one for this question. So from the examiner's report, we can see that only a touch over 50% of students got that question correct in this exam, so it wasn't overly well done.